Hello everyone, welcome to the Ichimoku.co Daily Futures Market Review for the trading day ending Wednesday, September 9th. Well, firstly to gold futures, and very strong selling in this market today, off the strong resistance at the 1124 region. Previously we saw these three candles testing above that area and testing around the Kijun-sen for two of those candles, and today the Tenkan-sen and the Kijun-sen and the 1124 region have held as very strong resistance, and the market's been very strongly rejected from that area. There was a possibility of support coming in around these swing lows. If we look at all these shadows here, it represents the sellers losing commitment. No strength there anymore. The market has taken them out in a very strong manner. Also potential for support around this region 1108, and that's been taken out in a bullish manner. And more importantly, however, what's the potential for support at the bottom of the Ichimoku cloud? The sellers have been that strong that they've taken that out in a very strong bearish manner as well. This suggests a very real possibility of the market to continue to trend lower. But what we want to see after this breakout is some strong follow through. Now, one thing to watch here is the shadows around this region here, around this 1100 round number level. When the market was attempting to rally here, we saw the buyers continually losing commitment. So this area around 1100 was holding as a very important area of resistance. Now we've seen some price rejection to the upside. We've seen the sellers losing commitment around this 1100 area, and there is a real possibility that this area could turn into or change into an area of very strong support as opposed to strong resistance that it was previously. So watching that 1100 area very closely. The problem for the buyers is going to be the potentially strong resistance at the bottom of the Ichimoku cloud, and that is an area that looks like it could be tested very early in this new trading session. Now, if the market can breach down through the 1100 area, there's a very strong likelihood of a test down to around the next support level at 10084, and then down to 1075, or I should say that in another way, 1075. Now, just looking at the bands here with gold futures, and here we saw previously the market rallying up above the band, finding support at the middle of the bands, attempting to rally through the upper band and finding strong resistance there. This is a way that we see markets transition from a strong bull phase to a strong bear phase, trading down through the middle of the bands, holding a support around the lower band and then breaking out to the downside. Now, this breakout could be a false breakout, but what we want to see is strong bearish follow through, and if we see that strong bearish follow through, it has a possibility of confirming a very strong negative bias in this market now. So just because we get the strong breakout first, it doesn't it's a warning that there is a strong weakness in the market. But if we tend to see that strong bearish breakout follow immediately, we tend to see the market continue further to the downside. Any rally here may find very strong resistance at the bottom band now at 1114. Moving next to Nymex Oil, and here we see some strong selling in this market today. Black body candle, a build of momentum to the downside. Sellers in control. Breach down through 44.78, but this isn't the first time we've seen this type of candle. 2 days previously we saw a very similar type of candle, but the important thing was that the market was trading up above the Tenkan-sen at that stage. Here with the breakout down below the Tenkan-sen, it suggests that we now have a bearish market in the short-term time frame, and there is a possibility of the sellers continuing to trade to the downside, but we're likely to find some strong support coming in around this 43.50 level at the Kijun-sen indicator, as we saw here previously. If the Kijun-sen is breached, looking to 42.45 to hold as support, but bearish activity here in this market would be in line with the market being bearish in the longer term time frame by trading down below the Ichimoku cloud. Now, just looking at this congestion area that's formed, and it's formed something of a symmetrical triangle here, so similar to what we saw with the equities markets. We saw a larger triangle, but here we see something a little bit smaller. This pattern is a little bit too big to be a pennant, and we have the market making lower peaks and higher troughs here. So we'll be looking for a breakout down below the lower barrier. Now if we do see that breakout and that close below the lower barrier, bear in mind the strong support at the Kijun-sen. So what we also want to see combined with that close below the lower barrier here to confirm this pattern as a potential reversal would be the close down below that important support, and then we would have greater confidence in this being a legitimate pattern. Now the problem here for the buyers is going to be that if we do see the close up above the upper barrier, we do have very strong resistance close by with the bottom of the Ichimoku cloud. So any targets that we might see here that we might work out to the upside aren't really going to work out too well with that strong resistance overhead. But the important thing would be that once we do see the breakout, if we do see it especially to the downside and breaching down through that Kijun-sen, we then could see price action continue to develop, not likely to develop further or much further to the upside, however. Next to wheat futures, and here we've seen the market rallying over the last couple of days. Yesterday we saw strong buying coming into the market, and this was off the back of this very strong downtrend that was in place following the breakout down below 488. The market breaching through 466.50, the sellers losing commitment, the buyers coming in solidly, and today the sellers have lost commitment again. We see this large shadow on the top of this doji type candle finding resistance, as I mentioned previously, at the Tenkan-sen. When we have strong downtrending markets in that fast term time frame, and we know that from the angle of the Tenkan-sen pointing down sharply, the Tenkan-sen tends to hold as very, very strong resistance, and we've seen very strong price rejection here with the sellers closing with control, and this sets the market up for a change of trend to the downside. If we do see the change of trend, however, 466.50 may hold as strong support, and what I'd like to see is a strong bearish close down below that region, and if we do see that, we could eventually see wheat futures trading down to about 447. Next to corn futures, and fairly similar type of trading activity as we saw with wheat, and we saw the strong sell-off. The important breakout down below that previous strong support area, 367.25, the strong selling, the loss of commitment by the sellers, the introduction of indecision, the buyers coming into the market strongly, breaching up through 367.25, and then the buyers losing commitment, evidenced by this large shadow, and the sellers taking control. This suggests the possibility of a change of trend. We'll be looking for confirmation with the market to make a lower high and a lower low, and if we do see that occur, looking to 359 to hold as strong support. Now just looking here to corn futures with the bands, and here we saw previous bearish activity down below the lower band, the market rallying up through the lower band to find resistance around that middle band and being rejected from there. But importantly, if we look closely, we see that the market found support just below that lower band. So there is some doubt about whether we will actually see the market breach through there, but I suggest if we see a strong bearish close, we could see the resumption of that very strong medium term downtrend. But if the lower band continues to hold a support and it trades roughly about 367, 368, if we see that area hold a support and then the market rally and fail through the middle band, 370, 319, and trade higher, then we could see the market test up to the upper band around 378, 379. Moving next to the US 30-year bonds, and here we've seen the market trending down today, forming a lower high and a lower low on a doji candle where the buyers have taken control. Previous days trading strong downside momentum, strong potential for support within this zone extending down to about 153.22. If we look at all the shadows on these candles here, we've seen the market rejected from there previously, and on that candle, even when we had that strong build of momentum with the black body, we saw support coming in at that area. Today, the market testing down through that area, down through the 153.11 area, through 152.19, and just through the bottom of the cloud, and strong support continuing to come in down below this region. With the buyers taking control and the very strong support here, it suggests we could see the market change trend back to the upside. We are seeing this new candle develop with support around the top of the Ichimoku cloud, about 154.08. Potential for resistance at 154.27, where we saw today's high roughly find some resistance. But if the buyers are strong enough to breach up through there, we could easily see the US 30-year bonds trading up to 155.27. and next to the S&P 500 futures on the hourly charts, and here we saw very, very bullish activity early in the trading session. The market trading well up above the Ichimoku cloud and the Kijun-sen, extending almost to the second pivot point resistance level, and then selling off very strongly. The market was very overextended up around these levels. If we look at the depth away from the Kijun-sen and importantly the depth away from the Ichimoku cloud, and we've seen the market come back to find equilibrium, trading down through the Kijun-sen, which held a support for a couple of candles and then failed. We then saw the market test down through to the first pivot point support level and find support through there, failing to close down below there, and then also finding support down around the bottom of the Ichimoku cloud. Now for the new session, we've just breached down through the Ichimoku cloud in a bearish manner, and the current hour of trading is finding some resistance around the bottom of the cloud. So there's a possibility we could have a negative market, and the market selling off down to the first pivot point support level around 1922. Any selling down through there could see support at the round number 1900, which is a number we've been watching. Round numbers are important, and that area may hold as very strong support. A rally through the Ichimoku cloud may find strong resistance around the middle pivot point level about 1956, and we also have the Kijun-sen and the Tenkan-sen around that region as well.